So the San Francisco 49ers hold on to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-20 today in Week 10 as the Niners come off the bye and get a much-needed victory. What a wild game that was. We're recapping it here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Really appreciate everybody for tuning into this show. Some late-night Niners talk at halftime of Sunday Night Football. And thanks to everybody who tuned into the watch party earlier today. 100,000 people throughout the day. We were all on the roller coaster together, riding that seesaw back and forth. You thought the Niners were going to win. You thought the Niners were going to lose. And then Jake Moody, the much maligned Jake Moody, comes through with that game-winning field goal at the buzzer. So, going to talk about it all here on the show. Tonight's 49ers Report sponsored by Prize Picks, by the way. #1 daily fantasy sports app in the game right now. When you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and you use the code CLNS and you play $5, you get $50 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Once again, prizepicks.com/CLNS. More than 10 million active members, billions of dollars handed out in awarded winnings. You just pick 2 or more players. You choose more or less on their projected stat lines, and you're guaranteed to win big-time money and up to 100 times your cash. I'm going to put that link down below in the comments section and in the show notes of tonight's San Francisco 49ers Report. So, a lot to talk about here. That game for the Niners wasn't necessarily a must-win, but the 49ers could not afford to lose that game. They fall to 4-5 in a crowded NFC when the Cardinals also won today to maintain their lead in the NFC West. It wouldn't have been good. And this is a pretty difficult Niners schedule coming up. They're playing against the likes of the Seahawks in Week 11. They still have to play the Rams, on the road against the Packers, on the road against the Bills. They have to take on the Detroit Lions at home, the Arizona Cardinals once again, the Chicago Bears. Tough sledding. You lose this game, you fall to 4-5. Not only are you hurting yourself in the NFC playoff picture, the vibes would have been awful. Over the last 3 years, the 49ers in the second half of the year have been able to win 70+% of their games. They lose this game coming off the bye week. Everybody is pointing fingers, and I don't think the vibes of this football team would have been good, and I'm not sure the Niners mentally could have taken that. They badly needed this victory. And the Buccaneers, I think, are a good team with or without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Baker Mayfield can do without his top 2 wide receivers. This is a Buccaneers team that went on the road and beat Detroit, looked at as the top team in the NFC. They're kind of getting dominated right now and handled by the Houston Texans on the road, but Detroit is fantastic. And they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, up to this point, maybe the second best team in the NFC. They've won 5 games in a row. They throttled the Dallas Cowboys, generating 5 turnovers. Philadelphia, during that 5-game winning streak, has the #1 overall defense in the NFL. Jalen Hurts has 16 combined touchdowns. He's been playing really well. And then last week, the Buccaneers lost in overtime to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are still unbeaten. So that's a good team. Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. I think since the middle point of last year, he's played at a top 10 level. So this is a solid resume type of victory for San Francisco. I'll tell you what, though. The 49ers have mastered shooting themselves in the foot. They always leave money on the table. They always commit these self-inflicted wounds. These games end up being head-scratching, and they make these ball games so much more difficult than they should be. And I thought today's game was kind of a microcosm of the season in a way. You see the ability. You see the talent. You see the potential. This NFC is wide open, but the Niners hold themselves back. Whether it's 3 Jake Moody missed field goals, ineptitude in the red zone, committing, 3 personal foul penalties on the Buccaneers' final drive? Yeah, you kept him out of the end zone, but my goodness, a couple of different face masks, roughing the passer. Kyle Shanahan was losing his shit on the sideline. I don't blame him, because at that point, it's not like he can do anything. And the luck sometimes is against the Niners this year. The ball hasn't bounced their way. You thought it was happening again. When Nick Bosa had Baker Mayfield wrapped up, he's gripping up his left arm. He's smiling as Baker is going toward the sideline. He's like, I got you, after a huge sack earlier for Bosa, a mega sack for him. And somehow Baker Mayfield on a fourth down, able to get rid of the ball and move the chains. And you're thinking, Niners are going to lose this game, aren't they? And so this is a team where good play, bad play, good play, bad play, good drive, bad drive. And they just cost themselves a lot. And today's game, stressful, heart-throbbing, heart attack-inducing, a microcosm of the season. But look, to get this victory, it's huge for the vibes. It's huge for the remainder of the year. Can this serve as the launching pad for the rest of the season? Because that Buccaneers team, they're now 4-6. They were really desperate to win that game. Trying to maintain distance in the AFC South, in the wild card hunt. They're going into the bye. They get Mike Evans coming out of the bye. That's going to help them a lot. The defense continues to be very lackluster, but that was a Buccaneers team. Short week. Lost to the Chiefs in overtime. They needed that win badly. You could see it by the way that they were fighting and clawing. And so San Francisco, good job by the team to pull out that victory going into Seattle week. As for why the Niners won this game, let's dive in. That was a Brock Purdy game. Brock Purdy had to deal with adversity. Brock Purdy had to exude toughness. Him and Kyle Shanahan didn't always have answers against Todd Bowles sending the house on numerous occasions. But Brock Purdy was clutch. And that's what you pay franchise quarterbacks to do. That was a Brock Purdy victory right there today. 4 of 5 on that final drive. The only incompletion was the spike. He took over at the 35-yard line with 41 seconds left. And so he comes through with the game-winning big boy clutch drive when the pressure cooker was on to set up that Jake Moody field goal. And think about some of the plays that Purdy made in that football game to help lift the Niners to a victory. The touchdown to George Kittle, if Patrick Mahomes would have made that play, the internet would have combusted. And I saw some replies to when I said that on X, and people were saying that's because Mahomes does it often. How many times have we seen Brock Purdy create plays out of structure with his feet, with his legs, buying time, and making those types of throws across his body in the back corner of the end zone? Toe drag swag for George Kittle? Brock Purdy does that consistently. He just doesn't get enough credit for making those plays consistently. And so that was an unbelievable play. The other one, which resulted in much-needed Niners points, was later in the game, the moonball to Christian McCaffrey. He has pressure in his face. Christian McCaffrey on a little stutter go. If you go back and look at when Purdy released that ball and where McCaffrey was, he led him perfectly down that sideline. Touch, dropping the dime. On the day, Purdy 25 of 36, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9.8 yards per completion. He was the reason why they won that game. Defense didn't come to play. Brock Purdy put the team on his shoulders. That's what elite quarterbacks do. As for the man of the day, the man of the hour, to use a term, Jake Moody. Whew. It was a rough Jake Moody day in Tampa, Florida. Missing 3 kicks, and it's not like they were long, difficult field goals. They were pretty easy field goals, and they were bad misses. What's interesting is that this is one bad game for Moody. He certainly had his moments as a Niner. Missed the kick against Cleveland last year, missed the PAT against Kansas City. Although people rip Moody for that Super Bowl, do we just forget that he hit 2 clutch 50-plus yard field goals in that game? Do we forget that, all things considered, he was really good as a rookie? Do we forget that to start this year before he got hurt in Week 5, he was good? The Niners as a team had only missed 1 field goal all year prior to today. And I posted my call from the watch party on my Instagram page and on our YouTube Shorts page. And I was amazed at all of the comments saying, cut Jake Moody, cut Jake Moody, Some people saying trade Jake Moody. Well, the deadline was last Tuesday. That's not going to happen. So many Niner fans want the Niners to cut him and move on. I don't think that's going to happen, nor do I think it should happen. Instead of people celebrating some intestinal fortitude, a fight between him, Tabor Pepper, and Deebo Samuel, and him coming off of those 3 misses and connecting on the game winner, and people celebrating that, people are saying, this guy sucks, get rid of him. How about the clutch gene, though? To come through when adversity has hit all day, when everything is gone against Jake Moody, when he probably wasn't that confident in himself, and he steps up, and he drills that kick, and then other people were saying, barely made the kick. He made the damn kick to win the game, and maybe to help save the Niners season. To me, he suffered an ankle injury against the Cardinals to start October in week 5. That was a high ankle sprain to his kicking leg. He clearly did not look 100%. He didn't kick as though he was 100%. Why was he playing in this game? That's my question. And that's on the Niners, because they could have avoided this situation where Moody left 9 points off the scoreboard. Why did he play? Anders Carlson is on the practice squad. Anders Carlson was really good for the Niners. I think he's going to be able to land a gig elsewhere. He was a draft pick last year for Green Bay out of Auburn who didn't work out, but he has a strong leg, and he was cash money for San Francisco outside of 1 extra point miss. But why was Jake Moody playing in this game? If he's not 100%, why is Anders Carlson not playing? And so I think that's on the Niners a little bit. But look, what did he do? Everything was against him. He connected on the game winner. And so give Jake Moody some credit for stepping up to the plate and being able to connect on that field goal. As for the whole situation between Deebo, Jake Moody, Tabor Pepper, drama in this game, the NFL is certainly a great entertainment product. You had the Moody miss. I think it was his final miss, the third one. Deebo went up to him and said, lock in. Tabor Pepper, a long snapper who sometimes has to stay in his lane, took exception and started yelling at Deebo. So then Deebo grabbed Tabor Pepper by the throat and swiped at him a little bit, and on the swipe kind of hit Jake Moody in the side of the helmet, and you could see lip reading that Tabor Pepper, after he got his neck gripped up, said, fuck you, Deebo. And then Deebo was like taunting Tabor Pepper and Jake Moody on the sideline. It was a weird situation. I understand why position players get frustrated with kickers and punters. It's like we're out here and we're playing so many snaps, sacrificing our bodies, and these special teamers have such an easy job per the position players, right? For Tabor Pepper, snap the football accurately, do your job. For Mitch Wishnowsky, punt the football, do your job. For Jake Moody, we're going to move the ball. If we can't punch it into the paint, which the Niners haven't been able to do a lot this year, red zone offense continues to be pretty terrible, then kick the ball in between the uprights. 1 miss, that's fine. 2 miss, okay, I'm starting to get pissed off. 3 misses, lock in Jake Moody. That's what Deebo was saying. Taunting them on the sideline after the fact, Deebo is a team captain, and that's probably where it becomes a little bit too much. But Moody was killing them. And if the Niners lose that game, Moody's partially to blame, and I can see why Deebo was fed up and annoyed and pissed off. Kyle Shanahan was asked about it after the game. He said, I haven't really gotten a chance to see it. I'm not sure what happened. We'll address it on the plane if it hasn't already been addressed. Tabor Pepper said, we're going to talk about it. Deebo said, I'll go up to Moody. Tabor Pepper, we're going to talk about it. Look, siblings fight, friends fight, couples fight. It happens. And in the heat of battle, an NFL game like that with so much on the line does become pretty emotional. So I can see where Deebo's coming from. But as a team captain, probably not the best look. Other takeaways I have from this game. Christian McCaffrey comes back after not having played all year because of bilateral Achilles tendonitis. I thought he looked really good early in the game. I thought there were moments in which he was hesitant with cutting, trying to exude power. I thought that at points he was kind of limping a little bit. I don't think he's 100%, but Christian McCaffrey comes back and in his first game has more than 100 scrimmage yards. It goes to show you how special he is. 3 yards per carry, but able to make some plays in the pass game. I think him serving as that threat out of the backfield as a receiver, him lining up out of the slot, he was used kind of all over the yard by Kyle Shanahan. That's the versatility and the threat that's posed to defenses that the Niners have been missing a lot this year. So it was good to see him out there. We'll see if that Achilles tendonitis on both legs, by the way, flares up, if it lingers, how much he practices this upcoming week. I imagine he'll be limited if he'll practice at all. I think it's going to be something that they're going to have to manage week in, week out. But good for Christian McCaffrey. He comes back. For those of you who had him on your fantasy team, 16.7 fantasy points. Pretty damn good. Ricky Pearsall, how about the touchdown that he had? And up and over, Purdy puts it right on him. Picking up yards after the catch, very similar to what he did on the end around against Dallas. He has some speed in the open field. He really does. Has some giddy up and some velo there. And that little hesitation stutter step gave him a little bit of space on Antoine Winfield, one man to beat. And he's able to stiff arm Antoine Winfield and reach for the pylon and get in. Very impressive play. On that final drive that set up the Jake Moody field goal, a big catch on that drive. Ricky Pearsall looks solid. Kyle Shanahan said Jawan Jennings going to be the X wide receiver, the outside guy the rest of the year. Plays really good in that role. The Niners had multiple guys with 50-plus receiving yards now that I think about it. I think it might be the first time in franchise history they've done that. I think it was what I saw. But Pearsall was over 50. Debo was over 50. Kittle was over 50. Jennings was over 50. And I think McCaffrey may have been over 50. So is that 5 players right there? Either way, production all around. George Kittle, speaking of him, continues to be elite. Some of the concerns I have for this team, they've been with me all year. They've been lingering all year. The defense, not enough depth on that side of the ball. They play well in the first half. They give up a lot of points in the second half. They wear down because they don't have a lot of depth and talent on that side of the ball. Now, good job by that Niners defense. Multiple personal foul penalties on that final Buccaneers drive. You think that everything is just crashing down on the Niners. To show some intestinal fortitude and mental fortitude to hold Tampa Bay to a field goal, that helped you win the game because you gave the ball back to the offense and Brock Purdy did the most with it. But talent and depth issues defensively not good. Continue to be bad on third downs defensively. And their red zone offense still stinks. What it comes down to, a lack of efficiency on first down. I think the Niners are a little bit predictable on first downs in the red zone. They always run it. And that's on Kyle Shanahan to get creative and to find some solutions there because the Niners have to start turning some of these drives into touchdown scoring drives. All right, wanted to hop on the mic. Long day for me. I was on air for 8 straight hours. Niners, Buccaneers, Eagles, Cowboys, but had to give the faithful what they wanted. And had to hop on the microphone in front of the camera, do a show here late night, talk some Niners, and recap that dub. So I'll be back in the studio tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Niners win 5-4.